If you're a plumber and you're on Google Maps, I can almost guarantee it's not set up properly. And in this video, I'm going to show you how the best plumbers get consistent jobs on Google Maps for completely free, and why most plumbers don't actually see the same results. All right, so actually just before we jump into it, I've just created a demo Google business profile, as you can see here, so you can see exactly where to go to make changes that I actually mentioned in this video. So first up, it's actually primary category and services. So this is actually one of the best things you can do for your listing, as this is directly telling Google where you should actually show up and for what services. So for example, if someone actually searches a service that you actually do and you haven't actually listed that inside Google itself, you most likely won't even show up for their search result. Please don't get lazy with this. All you have to do is actually fill out every single one of your services, and same goes for the actual category. So plumber, for example, you could put drainage if you obviously do drainage as well. Those sort of things, make sure you do both the category and the services, okay? Now, next up is actually something that most people don't actually realize is affecting their Google business profile, and that is actually the response to your calls and messages. So to give you a bit of context, Google actually tracks how many people actually interact with your listing. So this means if someone taps call from your Google Maps listing and the call goes unanswered, or if you have Google messages enabled and you leave them unread for a while, that literally hurts your ranking even if your listing looks good. And a lot of people don't know this, so they think everything's perfectly fine, but they're missing the fundamentals, okay? Now, something that actually makes this a little bit worse as well is if your customers then go on to call another plumbing company or even drainage company, as Google literally sees all this, and then they'll just see your listing as not up to standard. So then next time they'll actually reduce your ranking, so you actually show up less often when people search for your services, okay? So that is literally why you have to be on top of this, as Google really doesn't care why you actually missed the calls. They just care that you have actually missed the calls, because you could have been up a ladder or on a job with someone else, but they don't care. They just care it was actually missed, okay? Of course, you may be thinking it's easier said than done, because many of you may be a solo operator and simply you're not available 24/7, or even if you have office staff, they usually go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m, which still causes this problem. But there is good news. You don't really have to hire any office staff or be available 24/7, as this is exactly what we help plumbers with already, okay? So we pretty much handle either the after hour calls and WhatsApp messages, or literally just handle all calls and messages so nothing gets missed. Okay, so next up is actually photos. So these do stay on permanently unless you obviously delete them. Now, you need to make sure these are actually real job photos and not stock. I know a lot of companies do use the same stock image and it's just stupid. Don't use it. What you do have to do is have photos, have also before and after photos. And also what you could do is have a photo of your team in front of your fan, as it will simply just make you look a lot more trustworthy and human. And really doing this is very, very simple. You don't really have to overthink it. At least you just make it a habit for every single job you have, or even your team. Just make sure they have a photo before and after, or just take a picture after when you actually do the results and actually put that onto your Google business profile. When you do have these more recent photos, you will actually get more visibility. So you need to make sure you're actually doing this, as a lot of people are lazy with this as well. They stop doing it, and then simply you can easily overtake your competitors, okay? As when you understand how people work, they usually look at a listing and look at the photos. This makes this point a no-brainer, as if you have the more recent photos that are actually good, they're going to give you a call rather than one of your competitors. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is actually going to be really, really similar to the photos, but it's actually going to be Google Posts instead. So how these are usually a little bit different is the Google Posts expire after 7 days. So you really need to treat these as weekly updates, okay? Now, you may be thinking, what is actually the point of doing this if they expire after 7 days? Is similar to my last point. Google actually loves active listings. So if they see you constantly posting week on week, they're going to push you higher than your competitors. And since most plumbers actually ignore these, it's such an easy way to actually outcompete every single person in your market. But make sure you do it. It keeps your profile fresh and also shows Google that you are active, and then they'll obviously push you a bit more as well. All right, so the next one actually may be obvious, but it is reviews. So obviously reviews matter a lot, but replying to these reviews actually matters just as much. I see a lot of people that aren't actually replying to their reviews, which is stupid. They should every single time. One, it shows Google you're active and actually builds trust with your market. So even if you don't have many reviews, make sure you always do this, as it's just a quick, easy win that most plumbers actually skip. Okay, so the next one is actually 24/7 availability. This is something that a lot of companies do look over for good reason, but you shouldn't. The reason for this is, simply put, a lot of calls do come in after 9 to 5. A lot of the chances are something does happen past 9 to 5, or after work, they just want to give a plumber a call because they're too busy within working hours. So if you're literally just 9 to 5, you're going to be missing a lot of calls that you would have got if you actually put on 24/7 availability. As literally simply put, as you probably know, customers do call who's available. Of course, they may sometimes call the person that may not be available. That's 9 to 5 on Google, but a lot of time they do actually pick the person that has 24/7 availability. And actually adding on to this, Google actually loves companies that handles late calls and messages. So again, they will actually push you out to more people, meaning more visibility and more jobs. And also what you need to make sure you have is WhatsApp chat enabled if you're in the UK, and actually text messages if you're in the US, as customers simply prefer it a lot of the time. Of course, not all customers, but you do need to have this option enabled, as it will bring in more jobs as well. Some people just look for that option and send over a chat. It is hard to do if you are solo or literally have an office staff from 9 to 5. Again, this is literally why we help plumbers capture these out of hour calls and messages. So you literally can have 24/7 availability on Google and actually get jobs booked in without actually doing anything. Anyway, the next one is actually a very simple one. It's business name and description. Just make sure the business name is clear and simple, and the description is actually what you do. Make sure you include all the keywords possible that you can, and also make sure you put every single one of your locations that you serve, because again, if you serve more locations, Google will show it to the people in those locations, so you'll naturally get more people coming through in those locations. And also, if you actually do emergency plumbing, make sure you actually add this in the business description, as again, it falls under the same roof where if someone searches up something where they need emergency plumbing, you're going to be the first search. As you probably know by now, Google actually promotes and ranks listings higher if they actually convert better, meaning if calls and messages are answered quickly, Google actually sees that as a better experience and promotes you in front of more people, which naturally brings you more jobs without ads. Okay, and this is actually exactly why our customers who actually fix this issue get more consistent work, not because they're better plumbers, but because no call or message gets missed. So if you are interested in getting this set up for your business, feel free to book a call below and we'll see if it makes sense for you. And yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.